Good morning, traders, and this is your Aussie day trade setup for today. So before we get into the charts, just a quick look at the small account here. So we're sitting at 12,109. Fairly good day yesterday. It was a 5.67% return, but it was actually a disastrous day in my opinion because I was sitting on close to 16% gains for the day and promptly lost just short of 10%. Just through some really stupid ego-boosting decisions. But anyway, didn't boost the ego, it hurt the ego, so maybe that's now out of the way. Okay, so anyway, we've always been aiming for this area here. That's pretty much the daily gap there, and you can see that gap would have been open on all time frames, but obviously the 5-minute time frame would have been smaller than what the gap on the 5-minute time frame would have been slightly different to the daily gap. Okay, so at this stage, we have no diversions, but we do have a potential double top here. And we do need a retracement. Okay, now today's futures close out. So my advice to you today is possibly look for something early in the morning, get out of it, and at 11:45 South African time, you will see a lot of volatility on the instrument until sort of 12:15. There's a half-hour auction, and then they'll switch over to the March charts. Right now we're on the December chart. So futures closeout's always volatile on this instrument and not something that I like to hold on to during that auction. It can swing 1,000 points every 5 minutes quite easily. Okay, so this rally was unexpected. The gap down below, I would have expected this bottom gap at least to close before we build to come and test and have some structure like we've had all along with all these gaps up, but we didn't. And you can see the gap down straight away off the alligator. And as I said yesterday, the trend is up. You're looking for longs, but really you're looking for what I was looking for, longs off structure. And I suppose in hindsight, that was the structure. I've even got a video on that, but it just shows you how you don't always follow your own advice. Pretty much when you're chasing gaps, the first fractal to the left is always an ambush area, and that's the ambush area that buyers came in and they drove this market up, and they drove it up properly. You're talking 700 odd points. Okay, the only trades I got was this range break to the downside and upside, so we'll get to that now. Nothing really else here, except again, you see a break below that, you expect this double top to play out, and it normally plays out, but this is one of those occasions where it didn't play out. And again, it's the trend. I'm always reluctant to look at structure when the trend is up. So I'd rather wait for the long down here. If the long comes up and then bounces on the underside and starts rolling, then get out and change direction. And that's why a lot of people say wait for the retest of the structure before you get in the trade. Okay, so we're going to have to go a little bit lower for this. So just firstly on yesterday, you can see there's the bottom of the range. Okay, and we will use our trusty Fibonacci range tool. So top of range, bottom of range, you can see there's my range target lined up perfectly with a fractal level to the left. Perfect opportunity to get long. And what was your target for the long? Your target for the long was the underside of this. Okay, so you could have jumped in on this close here, below here, stop above there. You can see it's 80-point stop loss for a 155 point move to the downside and another 150% points to the upside. Okay, so that's where you're looking at structure on the different things. So now looking at the 12 minutes, our fractal levels here are there, and that one has broken to the upside. Okay, so those are my two fractal levels. With 10 cent where it is now and with the US all over the place right now, I'm not in, and futures close out, I'm pretty reluctant to be in on this market. I think I've got lots of other instruments here where there are opportunities at the moment. So for me, I think the Aussie is not going to get my attention today. I'm expecting some kind of a pullback, and we're going to look at this on the Ichimoku now. Maybe that'll give us a little bit more information that we need. Okay, so starting from the morning yesterday, gap down below the cloud and then up. Okay, but you could have taken that long right then and there. It's rejection off the cloud, which would have got you in as well. But we went from bearish, pretty much bearish, to bullish very quickly, and then sideways down, bounced off the cloud here. You can see the cloud and this level line up perfectly. Okay, and now we've come back up to test Kijinsen and Dickinson. So at this stage, as far as I'm concerned, this could just be a retest of the structure, and this is an area where people will be short. So not let everybody grab this one. They would have waited for the retest. Now they'll grab it. Okay, so a bit of caution there. If you look at 30-minute flat range, but bullish range. Okay, so it could be a flag forming. I somehow doubt it. The trend is very strong, so for it to roll, there's going to be quite a bit of effort for it to roll over. And everything here on the hour is bullish. You know, if you get a break above fractals to the upside, it's worth taking the trade to the upside. The 4 hour, we have a hanging man. Okay, ignore this bar, that's nonsense data. But we have a hanging man, we have a flat Kijinsen, and Dickinson is running the opposite direction. Remember, often when that happens, see if we can get one. Here's one here. You can see flat Kijinsen, Dickinson running away. Look what happens. It rolls, crosses over, and then normally moves quite far to the downside. Okay, and that is exactly what is brewing at the moment. This divergence between Kijinsen and Dickinson is not what you want to see. So this is not an area I want to be long. Okay, it's also not an area I want to be short, because there is still room for this thing to move to the upside. So you still want to be chasing the longs, but you want to wait for the pullbacks. Okay, now we finally got a crossover here. We still don't have a twist in the cloud. We've broken through, so the daily is now fully bullish. But I'd still want to see a pullback. Okay, now the structure here is obvious, and that structure there is the next level there. So these are my two downside levels. Now, these values are going to mean nothing after 12 o'clock. So this is 51,320 and 51, let's call it 5,100. Okay, oscillators are also indicating we need some kind of a pullback soon. Okay, so I think for me today, it's a sit in hands day. There's a lot going on here which I do like, and especially on the weekly. But at the same time, it is looking a little bit tired at the levels where it is at the moment. You can see sort of diversion sitting here as well. High, low, low, high. Okay, and that is normally continuation diversions, and that would be continuation diversions in the bigger trend, which would be that trend line there. So if we do reject this on the weekly, then you can expect a pretty big pullback. We've got a big gap here as well, which I think is going to be a magnet. So you can expect a pretty big pullback back to 50,300 to 50,000 area. Okay, so for me, looking at the 12 minutes, there's probably scope for this flag to break. Can you see that flag? There it is there. Okay, there's my flag. So there is probability for it to break the downside and then move to the downside, which will then give you a measured move of something like that back to come and test this area here of 51,300. Okay, so that's kind of the only trade that I see in the morning, and then pretty much out of it and wait for futures close out. Maybe look at it in the afternoon, see if there's some structure. But based on what's happening in the US, I think we're still going to wander aimlessly for the rest of the week. Okay, so anyway guys, that's it for me today. Hope that helps, and I will catch you later. Cheers for now.